355 of our Get Your Goals annual challenge. Today, we are going to prioritize using the 5Ds, the 27 goals and objectives we've set for ourselves for next year in each of the 9 different areas and aspects of the life framework: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, contribution, communication, and confidence. We picked through the process of that we shared. It's an 8-step process that we use to do that and to come up with our top 3 goals for each of those areas. And now today we're going to look at all 27 of those, and I've got all of mine written down and ready to go. And I'm going to apply this process. It's called the 5Ds. I looked at 10-step processes. I've used different processes to prioritize and do things, but they're pretty complicated. The 5Ds is really a quick and easy way to analyze and prioritize each of these 27 goals and objectives. So for each one of them, each of the goals we're going to look at, and we're going to say the first D is do, meaning it's urgent, it's important, and it's important that you do it yourself. When it comes to, say, physical goals and objectives, if you're deciding if you're eating and consuming nutrition, it's important that you do that, right? Nobody can do it for you. They can't feed you. I mean, they can make food for you and prep and help, but actually consuming the right things and making the right choices and decisions, it's urgent and it's important for you and for your health. So that's one of the things that you might do. I'm just going to give an example for each of these. The second thing we're going to look at when we're looking through the list is say, all right, well, is this something I can delegate? Or are there big parts of this goal that I can delegate? Meaning it's urgent, but it's not important that you do it. They say urgent and unimportant, but it's not. Unimportant means important means I have to personally do it. Unimportant means I can have someone else. I can delegate a big part of that goal, etc. So for example, when I'm setting up the framework for the nonprofit, I can delegate almost all of that, just outsource. This is what I want. These are the objectives. And somebody else who's adept at setting up nonprofit organizations can structure and set all those systems and processes and things up for me. It's important that it gets done, and urgent that it gets done, but it isn't important that I personally do it. The third filter we're going to use, the third D, is delay, meaning it's important, but it's not urgent. It needs to get done, but I can put it out a ways. It doesn't have to be one of the first things that I do. Usually when things aren't dependent on other things to achieve a goal or objective, then they come into the delay time and the D of the prioritization filter. The fourth one is delete. That means it is unimportant and it's not urgent. Things that I really don't have to do, that aren't going to benefit or help me with the other goals and objectives in the other areas of my life, the little dominoes, the little things, I might choose to do some of those, but they're going to go way down on my priority list because they're not important or urgent. And then finally, the 50 is decide. Decide to get an accountability partner. Decide to get a coach or a mentor or an accountability person that will help you to prioritize and figure out what to do first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the way to 27 if you're going to do all 27. I like to, before I look at this, I apply this to all, and I will do this today for my 27. Each goal, I'm just going to put in a spreadsheet, write them all down, or a couple of keywords to remind me what they are. And then I'm going to do this. Is it do, delegate, delay, delete, or decide to get an accountability partner? And I'll probably call it an AP instead of a decide, but it fits with the 5Ds. I get why we do that sometimes. And then I'm going to say, okay, well, of all these things that I need to do personally, I'm going to prioritize them. And I'm going to use a different process to say what's most important to me and what is dependent time-wise on something or other that I have to do one thing before another thing. I'm also going to look for what are the 3 to 5 big things that if I do them, they're going to positively impact the other things that I've got for my goals for next year. What are some things that I can do to do that? So for example, if I write, and I'm just making this up, if I write a book, that could be used for communication, but it also could be used for my business, my nonprofit, or for my financial goals, right? It could be used for, and that's financial, contribution, spiritual, and then communication. That could knock out 4 big things by doing one action, one thing, one goal. So I hope you understand what I'm getting at with this. 27 things is, I think, overwhelming for most human beings to focus on and have big goals for the year. So if we can combine and mesh and rank and rate and prioritize those 27 things. Now we're looking at 27 things instead of like my 400 item to-do list I used to have. When I was in corporate America and had my own businesses, I had a running spreadsheet of things to do. And I did categorize them and I did prioritize them and I did Gantt chart them and all that crazy stuff to them. But I didn't necessarily get more done by having fancy ways of analyzing the information. Sometimes you need that, sometimes we don't. So that's why I like the do, delegate, delay, delete, and decide. Just filter. It's just a filtering system, right? And then once we filter, we still have to prioritize each of the things that we want to do and then look at them for big dominoes. I learned that from Russell Brunson. He said, hey, look for the big dominoes. The one thing that if you do that will cause a whole bunch of other things to fall into place. And usually those will rise to the top. We know intuitively what's going to have the biggest impact on us achieving our goals in all areas and aspects of our life by doing them. You know, if we're in a bad relationship and we fix that relationship or get out of that relationship, we know that that's going to positively impact a lot of other areas of our life, usually physical, mental, spiritual, sometimes financial, sometimes not, usually contribution, usually communication, usually confidence. All of those get affected if you fix one relationship sometimes. All right. Questions about this, hit me up. There'll be a write-up, of course, in Guide 17 of the Get Up and Go Challenge private Facebook group page. You can hit that up and look. If you've got questions, just ask me. I don't even know what time it is this morning. I hung out with my 2-year-old granddaughter went up to get some coffee, and she was already awake, and she saw me. And once she sees me, it's all over. And so I let her mom and her other sisters sleep in. I'm staying with them for a while over the holidays. And it's just fun. It's really fun. I love them. And it's so fun to hang out with the 2-year-old and their energy level and their enthusiasm and excitement about things and the way they look at things. It's just so refreshing. And as amazing and chaotic as she is, sometimes it's exhausting. So anyway, I will get that up in a while. I'm not going to guarantee what time I'll get it done today. But if you have a question, just reach out and ask, and I will get you an answer immediately if you Voxer me. Otherwise, it might take a little bit longer. All right, have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be tomorrow. This is important. Do this today or today and tomorrow, however long it takes you. But it's important that we are prepped and ready for our goals next year. So we don't have to think about it. We don't have to stress about it. We already know, hey, this is what it is. This is what we're working on. This is my framework for the entire year next year. And that's what we're creating here. All right, have an awesome day, and I'll be with you tomorrow. Bye. Hopefully early.